Hey, what's up, everybody? This video is part of a series of videos dealing with personal finances and personal budgeting. I'm going to put this same intro at the beginning of each video. So one, if you've already watched the intro, you can go ahead and skip to today's topic. Two, if you see my clothes change or the nice virtual background change, the reason will be because I recorded the rest of the video on a different day than I did this introductory video. So the point of this series is simply to do very quick, hopefully 2 to 5 minute videos where we discuss a lot of topics dealing with personal budgeting and personal finances. So I'm going to record all of these. I have probably over 20 ideas for these really short videos. I'm going to release one a day over the next 3 to 5 weeks. And if there's a topic that you want to hear about, please go ahead and post it in the comments. Maybe it's one that I have coming up, and then I'll release that one in the future. Or perhaps it's something that I haven't talked about or thought about on my list, and I can address that as I continue the series. So without any further comments, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. So you do absolutely still need to balance your checkbook, for a lack of a better term. I mean, it's not really balancing your checkbook like it was, 15, 20 years ago. And if you actually don't understand the concept of balancing your checkbook, I'm going to cover that real quick, but I'm also going to cover why you still absolutely need to do this, even in the days of online banking and apps on your phone, and the budget software that you're using is going to import your transactions. This is still a critical practice, and I'm going to let you know why. But first of all, the practice of balancing your checkbook simply just means reconciling what is in your records to what the bank has in their records. So, of course, 20 years ago, before online banking and when people were writing checks more frequently, even than using their debit cards, this was critical. You couldn't log on and see what was in your account. You might have written 5 checks, 3 of which have not been cashed yet, 2 have. And so you needed to keep a manual record of what your balance in your checking account was. So you might have started with $1,000. You've written 5 checks. You're going to need to write those down, subtract those out so that you know how much you have available, even though the bank may not be aware of that money that you have spent yet. And then at the end of the month, you would actually get your bank statement in the mail. You would look at what transactions had cleared based on what you had spent in your checkbook register. You'd mark off the cleared ones. You'd subtract out any outstanding payments, add in any outstanding deposits that hadn't cleared yet. And that would give you an accurate reflection of what money you actually had available. So, of course, with online banking and with the decreased use of checks, pretty much everything's on a credit or a debit card. And nowadays, I mean, even like 5 years ago, that the debit and credit cards, they were taking a day or two to show as pending and then another day or two to clear. But now the pending transactions are showing up pretty much immediately, from the best I can tell, for just about everything. And so, yeah, it may be a little less critical for you to do this so that you're aware of what is in your account. However, it is still just as imperative and critical that you do this in order to catch things that may have been missed. So, for example, the budget software that you use most likely is going to be importing your transactions from the bank. So theoretically, what's in your budget software should always match what's actually in the bank. However, there's always times where this might get disconnected, or it might just miss importing a transaction. It's not perfect. Software is not perfect, just like people aren't. And so it might miss a transaction. It might double up a transaction. And so every now and then, I do it every time I update our budget, which is usually weekly unless we're on vacation or something. But you're going to want to compare what is in your budget software to what the bank says you actually have in your account or outstanding on your credit card. It's very simple to do this in the program that I use. It imports transactions, and then there's a little cleared button to say whether or not it has actually cleared the bank, and it'll show you your cleared balance versus your outstanding balance. Your cleared balance should essentially always exactly match what the bank says that you have. What's great is you don't have to wait once a month for a paper statement to come in the mail, but you can do this at any given time whenever you want. So like I said, you want to make sure that your budget software has the right balance compared to what is actually in the bank. Because if not, then your budget is useless because you're operating with false information, either too much or too little in your budget if it doesn't tie out to what the bank says you actually have available. Also, while you're doing this, you may come across a transaction that you didn't spend. So, you'll be able to report that. The credit card companies and probably your debit card bank is pretty good at catching this too. But you might find a transaction that they missed that you didn't actually spend. There was a fraudulent transaction on your card and you'll be able to report it. But if you're not paying attention and you're not reconciling the accounts to one another, you completely would overlook this potentially. And then, like I said, kind of the more common scenario is a bank feed connection will get disconnected. You reconnect it. And most of the time, it's going to import all the correct transactions. But again, I do see sometimes where it doesn't import maybe 2 or 3 transactions. And when you're going through and comparing your balance, and then you find out which ones didn't come through and you manually enter those in. It's also possible, I've seen, where you could double up a transaction. So for instance, you might have entered a transaction yourself into your budget, like say Amazon or an online Walmart grocery purchase for pickup for a pickup for a grocery order. And the online amount might say, $101.27. But then, like for Walmart groceries, if they substitute an item and they end up charging you a different amount, you could end up with 2 Walmart transactions in there, one for the original amount that never actually came through, and then one for the real amount because the budget software wasn't able to match those up since they were different amounts. And also with Amazon might take one purchase of $102 and break it into 3 shipments and then charge you 3 different times. So if you've entered it in as one purchase and then it imports those 3 actual charges, those expenses would be doubled up as well. So all that to say is, yes, you definitely still want to be balancing your checkbook. You still want to essentially compare what you think is in the bank to what the bank actually has in the bank. Make sure that you have all the transactions correctly. Make sure they have all the transactions correctly, and that your information is accurate and up to date so that you have good budget information with which to make your decisions. My name is Brad. I'm with Wooten CPA. My goal is to bring peace to your tax and accounting responsibilities. One of the ways I do that is through these videos here on YouTube. Please like this video, share this video for others to see, and subscribe to the channel if you would. That way you're also notified when new videos come out. There will be over 20 in this series of personal finance and personal budgeting that I'm going to try to keep in that 2 to 5 minute window, so they'll be easy to digest for you. Hopefully that they are helpful for you, and I appreciate you watching the videos.